Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Deacon Hoover Radio Network. And we're back for the Deacon of Real Estate podcast. I am Adam, but with me is the star, Alex Deacon, the Deacon himself. Alex, what's going on today, brother?
Adam, what's going on? I'm heading up to my camp after this podcast.
Nice.
So let's kick some butt. Let's get out of here.
We'll make it a quick one, but a good one.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. I think everybody wants to know about this next subject.
So let's talk about today something that I think everybody would probably want to know. I could benefit from this. How can you finance with zero money down?
Are you serious? You can do that?
That's what I've been told.
What are you talking about?
I know. I personally don't know.
I had no idea.
That's why I came to you.
Okay. Well, everybody wants to know how to do this, right? There's how many books and seminars have been structured around this one sentence? I mean, tons. And why do you think that is? Why do you think that one sentence brings so much excitement?
Because typically people don't want to invest. Well, one, they either don't want to invest their own money, or two, people don't have money saved up to invest.
Right, and those are the two commonly. Those 1 and 2, yep. Right? So if this was Family Feud, that will be number 1 and number 2.
Ding. Exactly. Thanks, Richard Dawson.
So number 1 is, I think most people don't have money, and they want an easy way out because it sounds easy.
Right.
Zero money down. I don't have any money. I can become a millionaire.
Sounds too good to be true.
And it is that simple, but it's also that complicated. And the other thing, number 2 version would be, or answer would be, you leverage, right? So what does zero money down mean? It means I can use other people's money, and I can leverage my purchases and my real estate portfolio growth infinitely. It's how many hours you have in the day, how much resources you have, how many properties you can find to purchase. And how much money you have of other people's money will limit how much you can purchase. Like how many you can buy. Can I buy 4 in a day? Can I buy 4 a year? Can I buy 40 a month? That's what it's going to boil down to. So we're going to go into different strategies on how to buy properties with literally none of your money. Okay? But there's a caveat to this, and that is, if your real estate IQ is not where it should be, and you don't have a good team behind you, and this is the same thing every podcast we talk about this, right? But it's always the basics. So if you don't have the real estate IQ where it needs to be, you don't have your team members surrounding you, you don't know the market, zero money down is not going to work.
Okay. I don't think people would appreciate you playing with their money if you didn't know what you were doing with it. For
sure. And if they do, and you dupe them into doing business with you, and they give you the money, then you're not going to know what to do with it, and you're going to fail miserably. So we'll go into each different scenario on how to do this and how to do it properly. But I wouldn't suggest this on a large scale to somebody just starting out. Okay. So I'll share with you some of the things that I've done in the past that I kind of tripped on these, and I'm like, oh, I guess I can do that, you know.
Teach me, wise Deacon. Teach me.
Oh, sure, grasshopper.
I guess. So if you guys can't see, it's like the Karate Kid.
I will teach you. You must close lip and open eye and open ear. Yes. You can open mouth now.
Oh, there we go.
Ask me a question.
There you go. So, all right. So what's the easiest way right now? We know you need a good team. You know that you need to have some experience involved with this. But let's really dive into this. So, zero money down strategies. Some things that you kind of fell into.
Okay. So one of the first ones I purchased was a 4-unit in Beachview. It's about like 1995-ish. Okay. That was probably about 1997. Okay. So this listing was on the market. It expired. I mean, it was on the MLS. It expired. I called the guy. I said, hey, you interested in selling? He said, sure, I'd be interested in selling it. I said, well, the only way I can buy is if you hold the mortgage. Okay? He didn't have a mortgage on it at the time, so he owned it free and clear. So he basically was the bank.
Okay.
And I said, well, here's what I'll do. I will give you $5,000 down. It might have been $3,000 or $4,000. I don't recall the exact amount. But I went and looked at it. He was open to it. We put a deal together. So the next question from you to me is, well, you had to put $5,000 down, didn't you, Alex?
Well,
so
you
go
had
ahead,
to-
ask me that question.
Well, you had to put $5,000 down, didn't you, Alex?
Well, no, I didn't, Adam, because
you
let me
didn't.
explain to you why I didn't have to put $5,000 of my own money down.
Do tell.
Because I had a credit card with a limit of, let's say it was $5,000.
Okay.
I don't remember exact numbers. So I went and got that money, put that money down, which was not my money. I had to pay on it every month, though. And I owned a 4-unit, just that simple, right? Now, that 4-unit was probably not the best investment.
Okay.
So that's on the back end where my real estate IQ was low. I purchased something at a certain price point where I shouldn't have. And I did buy it with zero money down. So my risk was minimal.
Okay.
Because I could have walked away from that, and what would I have lost? $5,000.
Right.
I could recover from that.
Right.
So, but that's one way of doing it, and that's called owner financing.
Okay.
So one way to buy it with zero money down is owner financing. Now, the lower down payment you can negotiate with the seller, the better, right? So if I would have negotiated, I probably could have negotiated zero money down. I didn't know any better. Hey, listen, I'll take this off your hands. I'm going to put zero money down, but I'm going to pay you X amount every month for the next 2 years, and then after 2 years, I have to pay you the balance.
Right.
That's called a balloon payment.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we might have amortized that payment over 15 years at 7% interest. That's all negotiable. You negotiate the interest rate, the amount of years that the loan is amortized over, and when it has to be paid off. 6 months or 60 years.
Right.
That's probably the easiest, most common way to do zero money down. Now, the pros of doing it that way is very simple. No bank involved, right?
Right.
The downside is whenever you do something like this on a residential side, you lose a lot of leverage. You lose ability. You don't lose, but your ability to negotiate a better price and better terms is a lot less because you're asking the seller to take somewhat of a risk. Okay.
Okay.
So when you can find a fantastic deal and the owner will finance it, that's beautiful.
Gotcha.
But it's hard to find both those ingredients that make it a stupendous deal. But you can still get decent deals regardless. For example, you might find an owner that maybe they don't want all their money now because of the way the tax law is written. They don't want to get all that money right now.
Okay.
They'd rather make a interest on their money, on their equity. So if I own this $100,000 asset free and clear, and I'm going to hold a note for $100,000 for Alex at 7% interest, where can I get 7% on my money? So that's that seller's thinking. I don't need all that money now. I might as well trust Alex that he'll pay me every month, and I'm making 7%. Gotcha. So you can find some owners that don't need to sell. But what happens when you find an owner that doesn't need to sell?
Then you got to find the money.
What happens is that owner doesn't need to sell.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
So
right,
where's your leverage?
There's none.
Yeah,
There's
he's going to sell it to you probably at a top dollar or more than it's worth, and everything's going to be kind of skewed in his favor.
If you even get the property at all.
Yeah,
right.
even if you get the property at all. So owner financing, pros and cons, but it's definitely something to think about. I think it's more like creative financing like this is probably more prevalent in deals that maybe are more commercial or industrial, where maybe financing is a little more difficult to get. So creative deals are done a lot more often than you think outside of the residential world. I do believe. I don't have much experience in it, but that's what I'm told.
There you go.
All right, so how else can you buy a property with zero money down? There's a lender out there, and they're typically called hard money lenders or private lenders. So hard money or private lenders. Those are just folks that, that could be your uncle, your aunts, that could be your next door neighbor, that could be a friend, someone who wants to lend money at a very high interest rate. And the reason it's a high interest rate because the risk is high. So, for example, that same $100,000 4-unit that I purchased, I would go to a hard money lender and I would let him know that, well, here's what I'm going to do. Here's this is my business plan. You're going to lend me $110,000. Okay? That $110,000 is going to cover the cost of purchasing the property, the cost of maybe some of my closing costs, and maybe another $5,000 in rehab that I want to do to the property. Are you okay with that, Mr. Lender? Lender's typically not okay with it unless you have a good track record with him, or you have a tremendous income and tremendous credit score. Okay, if you have no income and no credit score and no background, you're not going to get that deal from a hard money lender.
Don't expect much,
okay?
Right?
But I do these all the time. So, for instance, again, that $100,000 asset, I'm buying it with the hard money lender's money. He's lending me $110,000 at closing, and I'm walking out of the closing sometimes with a small check, and I should put that money into the property, get it fixed up, so on and so forth. And I'm paying a very high rate. So I might pay anywhere from 10 to 15% on that. So it's very high. So if you're not, again, if your real estate IQ is low, and just imagine what a mortgage payment is going to be on 10 or 15% on a $100,000 loan. It's very high. So you really have to know what you're doing. You want to get out of that loan as quickly as you can. So 4, 6 months, maybe a year. Okay. You don't want to carry it longer than that.
Yeah. Because the interest is so high.
Yeah, that's right. And it's just, all it does is get you into the property with zero money. Mm-hmm. So the exit strategy on something like that is, one, I'm going to turn around and sell it in 4 to 6 months or 8 months, less than a year. I'm going to sell it. So if I sell it for $140,000 and my profit is X, who cares what I paid the lender? He made money, I made money.
Everybody's happy.
And I used none of my own funds. Exit strategy B would be, I'm going to hold the property, so I'm going to refinance it with a conventional lender. So I'm going to go to ABC lending, XYZ lending, and I'm going to pitch them on, okay, now I have an asset that's appraises for $140,000. I would like to borrow $110,000. Is that okay? The bank's going to say yes or no with some stipulations. I refinance it with conventional lending, pay off the hard money lender. Now I have an asset that's sitting in my portfolio that's worth maybe $140,000, and I have a hard money lender who wants to lend me money again.
And then so you have somebody that a year or 2 years down the line, if you need something, if you want to put an addition on your house, if you need a car, if you need this, you need that, you have somebody to go to. Gotcha. It's all about building in a way you're building. It goes back to what we always talk about, networking, building those business relationships that could help you. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I guess it is good to say too that it's okay to have a low, real estate IQ in investor IQ in the beginning too. That's why we're here, and that's why we're doing these things, guys. So please don't ever take low IQ as an insult. I mean that's kind of why we're here. We've all had the low IQ. Okay, okay. I still have a low IQ when it comes to real estate.
You're extremely low.
Very low. It's probably the lowest.
You know what's funny? I don't know why I think about this right now, but the other day, literally like last week, I met a guy. I shouldn't say this, but do you know that Geico commercial with the caveman?
Yeah.
Is it the caveman? I met a guy who looked just like him. It was.
Are you sure it wasn't me with his big beard and the long hair that I got?
I'm looking at your beard and I'm thinking low IQ, and I'm like, holy cow! And it just wasn't me. It's like the guy who was in the room with me. He's like, hey, that guy looks like. Doesn't he? And I'm like, oh my god, it wasn't just me then? He's like, no, it looked just like the dude.
See, those are hints, ladies and gentlemen. That's what he's saying. He's saying shave, clean up.
All right, so we talked about using your own funds. That would be like a credit card, right?
Right.
Borrowing all the money from a hard money lender or private lender. Mm-hmm. Okay, another way to buy something with zero money down would be a partnership. Okay, so you may have, in many cases, I have the knowledge of the real estate side. I just don't have the money. Right. The person who has the money may not want to be a lender. They want to be a partner. Or maybe you want them to be a partner.
Right.
Okay. They would prefer to make more money and have more risk, though. So as a partner, you're going to have all the money into it, but you're also going to share in the risk too.
Right. Okay.
So the return may be greater, but hey, if the deal doesn't make any money, guess what? You are a partner